So how long have you been a tech recruiter in big tech?
So I've been in the industry 4 or 5 years approximately. To get to the technical recruiter stage, it's a bit of a process, right? You can't just come in and be a technical recruiter. It really takes some polishing. But to get started, right, all you really need is a personality, understand how to talk to people, and the career kind of unfolds itself.
Yeah. So technical recruiter, because one of the things, I just even recently learned this, is that every recruiter is not like, especially like when you're talking big tech, is that recruiters, y'all are kind of siphoned off into specific industries. So someone who recruits for maybe sales engineers or tech sales isn't going to be recruiting for, cybersecurity, or isn't going to be recruiting for software, engineers.
Right.
So with you being a technical recruiter, like, I guess what are some of the things that you have to know to be, not just you're not just a technical recruiter, you're a senior technical recruiter.
Yeah. So it's a lot of things that's worth knowing, right? And I think what's important is to know and fully understand what you're looking for. As a senior technical recruiter, right? Like you said, there's different areas or disciplines that you could go into. I'm in software engineering, but needless to say, it's a lot of different opportunities in the software engineering space, right? So you just need to understand exactly what you're looking for, the caliber of person you're looking for, what the company likes, what that company doesn't like, and go out there and find that person, right? And it's really important that you go out there and find, or try to find a minority person as well, right? Because we want this to be an even playing field, right? We want everyone to have those type of opportunities. So, like I said, knowing what you're looking for, understanding your job is really important to the success of being a recruiter.
Yeah. So, and it's kind of like a tangent, but just off something you said. So obviously, as a technical recruiter, you want to make sure that, hey, you're not just hiring people of color, but that you are focused on, hey, who's a good person for the job, for the role. But as a black man who understands, okay, just the disparities and understands whatever you want to call it. Like, how do you go about navigating that? Where it's like, hey, I definitely want to help out people of color. Because I understand that percentage-wise, we're not even going to talk about just the rest of the world, what's happening, but even like within this industry, like we do not get a full fair shake in this industry. So like, how do you navigate that? Because I know that's a tough thing.
Yeah, so it is tough, right? But I wouldn't say it's tough with the companies, right? Because a lot of top tech companies, they want diversity, right? Yeah. Diversity and inclusion is a huge initiative that everyone is pretty much taking on. And if you're not taking on, what are you doing, right? If you're not taking this on, what are you doing? But personally, like I said, my thought process is you can't be what you can't see, right? You have to know what's going on. You have to know what you're looking for. So since I know exactly the roles I'm recruiting for, if I go out and find a minority that I feel is qualified, right? It's not like I just pick a random and say, okay, you're black, I want to get you in the door, right? But someone who's worked to get to this point in their life and their career, I build a relationship with them. I don't just hop on the phone and say, hey, this is, what we're trying to do. Let's start the interview process. I prep them, right? I talk to them. I understand, like, driving factors. Like, what are you looking for in this next company, right? What are your expectations? What do you want to work on? And let's see if that aligns. And if that does align, I give them my personal recipe for success. And I think I'm pretty successful when it comes to recruiting, right? If as long as they, listen, are open to taking the advice that I have, and of course, master their own craft. That's really what it's all about.
So, man, you actually got me thinking about something. This isn't a question that I have down, but what does it look like for a recruiter to be successful? Like, what is because in other roles, we had Tate on Tech in here, cybersecurity. Yeah. It's like, okay, they're successful if, they're defending the security of their company, or, myself as a sales engineer, I'm successful if I have good product knowledge of my company's technology and if I'm doing good demos.
Right.
And so we can go down a list of what's successful. So as a recruiter, especially in big tech, what does it look like to be successful?
That's a fantastic question. So success as a technical recruiter really looks like getting people hired, right? Yeah. And not just getting people hired. You really want to hire on a diverse slate, right? So you really want to, your hires to kind of look like the market, right? So let's say 25% of minorities work in software engineering, right?
Yeah.
Out of every 4 hires, I want to get a minority, right? Or if it's, 20% women. I hate that I don't know those exact statistics offhand because at one point I did, but I want to resemble the market, right? Yeah. So I think that's really important to the success of being a technical recruiter, at least a really experienced technical recruiter that can work at those big tech companies because they really want their companies to resemble the current market, right? Yeah. Also, you need to get hires, right? Yeah. So whatever your metrics looks like, the company will define like a goal or an objective for you. So you really want to meet those expectations. But I don't know if you ever heard this, but I feel as a minority, you need to work twice as fast to make half the mistakes. So whatever those objections are, I try to exceed those, and that's how I pretty much stay in my space. And I appreciate it, right? I don't take it for granted, right? It's a blessing to have and earn like I do. So, I follow through on my job and just, try to close every deal I can.
Yeah, is a part of that also you hiring someone that, because obviously job hopping is a really popular thing, and it's been popular for a couple of years now. So as a recruiter, does that ever fall back on recruiters where it's like, okay, let's say a recruiter brings someone on, the hiring manager, the whole team, everybody's like, yeah, we like him, we want to hire and bring him on. Okay.
It's never that simple. It's never that simple. But I got you.
Yeah, that's a very condensed, very extremely condensed version of the entire process.
Right.
But after the process, whether it's 4 rounds, 5 rounds, 6 rounds of interviews, person accepts the offer letter, they come on. 4 months later, they decide to either job hop, like jump to another company, or let's say they're like grossly underperforming. Does that ever
come back
look bad on like technical recruiters or recruiters, tech recruiters in general?
Yeah. So no, not necessarily, right? This is a kind of winded answer, right? So I want to make sure I answer every part of that. The interview process to work at top tech companies is so thorough that if you finesse your way through that interview, congratulations to you, right? As far as people hopping, early on, you don't really see it, right? Because again, once you have these, once you have equity in the company, right, you don't vest fully once you start, right? And that's a way to hold. That's a holding pattern that these companies have. Like one company I won't mention, it's a really big tech company, right? I don't necessarily like how they pay their equity, but it really works for the long-term success, right? Yeah. So they may have, $1 million 4-year deal, right? But after 1 year, you only get 5%, right? But after year 3 or after year 4, you get like your latest 40%, right? So it might be 5, 10, 30, 50 or whatever's left, right? So companies, they're not,
they're smart.
They're smart, right? Yeah. So also, once you get to top tech companies, you're really desirable by everybody, right? But once you make that decision to work for a company, typically what you're doing as a recruiter is vetting out, like what I said earlier, is I want to see what your driving purpose is. Like, why are you looking for a new job, right? Is it because of money? Are you tired of doing what you do every day at your job? Are you worried about being laid off, right? I have to really understand that, right? That's a part of my job. And a lot of times at that stage in their career, money isn't necessarily the motive, because I recruit for more senior staff, principal candidates. Yeah. So they've already
making money.
They already have the money, right? Yeah. So now it's more of a balance in life. I want to be comfortable. I want to work from home. I want to stay in Georgia instead of working California right now and live on acres, right? So once you understand that, it kind of helps out. And if somebody does decide to say, after 4 months I'm leaving, well, best of luck. I'm sure you have whatever good reason to do it, right? So we don't really bite that bullet.